Hey, good morning, everybody. Paul Abernathy here. Welcome to another mobile podcast on the Let's Ask Paul. So I had a question come in, and it came in from a contractor. He said, Paul, I'm looking at your CMECP program. I'm a Master Electrician, and I want to know what benefits does the CMECP program have for me, and basically why should I do your program? Thanks in advance. P.S. Love your podcasts. Well, thanks for listening to the podcasts. So I guess I'll answer some questions, kind of things also that people have asked about the CMECP program. First of all, the Certified Master Electrical Code Professional program has been around now since 2016 or something like that, 2017. I can't remember. It's been around a long time. That's a long time comparative to programs that start up. It's a very select group. Not everybody can get in. The process is even though the process is pretty straightforward to become it, and I'll explain the benefits of it for those out there who are listening that may be master electrician or equivalent in determining whether or not they think the program is for them or what they can get out of the program. First and foremost, the CMECP program is designed to take people that are at the master or equivalent level of their career and helping them solidify their knowledge of the National Electrical Code and basically taking a rough piece of clay and smoothing all the edges out and really testing your ability, testing your time commitment. 6 months to complete the program you think that's a lot of time. But it's not when you think of the grading threshold and the grades that you have to have and what you have to maintain. It's not a lot of time. And I can tell you from students that come into the program, a lot more fail than succeed in the program because of life. Things get in the way and you can't meet that time commitment that's necessary in the program. That's certainly not to deter or to scare anybody or away from that. That's not what we're trying to do with the program. That's most certainly not the goal. The goal is to create better electricians, create better leaders, those type of scenarios. And at the end of the day, that's really the focus of the CMECP program. Now, there's benefits to it, and we'll cover those, but that's the benefit. That's the first part of the program, is to create better electricians and more code savvy and knowledgeable electricians. Now, granted, to get into the CMECP program, there's some thresholds you have to meet. One, you have to be a master electrician, or you have to be equivalent. Now, what's equivalent? Now, I recently had a gentleman who asked about it, and I'll give you an example. So, California doesn't have a master electrician's license. They have what's called a general electrician. And it requires a certain number of hours of training and classroom hours and all that, like 720 classroom hours. All of that is equivalent to a master. And they don't have a master electrician's license. So that's the equivalent. So Ohio is another good example. So now Ohio has a journeyman level and they don't have a master. They have electrical contractor. So you're either a journeyman or you decide to go full bore and just become an electrical contractor. Well, since they don't have a master electrician's license, then their electrical contractor is their highest level, then that would be what's called equivalent. The other ways you can get in is if we have an apprenticeship program, which if you're a journeyman, and it's the same program, it just gives you a little longer to complete. It gives you a year to complete rather than 6 months. So if you're a journeyman and you want to get all the benefits of learning the code, plus, and this is a big thing for people, plus you are going to get ready to take your master's, then some people get our Fast Tracks programs, and I would recommend that they do this because then they can get their training for their exam, but they also get all the prerequisites everything out of the way to become a CMECP. Then the moment that they pass their master's exam, because they have to pass it within a year, which should be no problem, using our program, okay, then all of a sudden they jump all the way to the last 2 levels of the CMECP program. So it's really a 2-for-1 thing. So a lot of people don't know about that. But if you're a journeyman and you're studying for your master's exam, I recommend you get into the CMECP program, the apprenticeship program, and that's already going to give you a leg up. And you pass the program, you get your master's, and boom, you jump right to the final 2 stages of the CMECP program. The final 2 stages are the proctored recorded exam, which is a 100-question exam. It's recorded. It's done on Zoom, and it's all recorded and everything, and kept in the archives. But you also then go to the final stage as well after you pass that one. In the final stage is an essay. And the essay is you pick any portion of the NEC that you want to give a lesson on, right? So you could pick, EV vehicles, 625. You could pick whatever you want to give a detailed lesson. And then it's reviewed by the board of directors and the review board for the CMECP program, which is made up of other CMECPs. I do not read them. I read them after the grading, but I do not read them personally. It's simply passed on to the members, and the members will read it and give a thumbs up, thumbs down. They will also give any criticism, positive or negative, to the candidate, and we will share that with the candidate. Once that hurdle is passed, then you'll be awarded your CMECP. You'll get all the things that you're supposed to get, your lapel pins, the ability to use the acronyms and promote yourself as a CMECP and become ambassadors for the program, things like that. Of course, you get access to the discount program and all the other training that we have in our program. You get to unlock all that and become a member of all that, and help enrich you and gives you more learning opportunities in leadership and management and other things. So all that's open to you in our program if you want it. Again, that's up to you if you want that. It's there. Now, the thing about the CMECP program and why it's a marketing wise, and it's not for everybody, but you have to understand that everybody that achieves licensure at a certain level, whether it's master or equivalent, you're in a big pool of people that are just like you. And the customer or the end user doesn't know the differentiator, right? They don't know the work you do. They're looking and just trying to determine who they think's the best. Nobody wants to hire somebody. I mean, everybody always says, I want it quick, I want it now, I want it cheap, but I want a great job. Those things are not necessarily intertwined. I mean, you can't always get the best job by going with the cheapest, right? And so one of the things that you try to differentiate yourself is through training, certification, and then people tend to think that always means, well, that guy's got all these certifications, they're going to be more expensive. No, there's a way to market yourself as this next level educated, certified professional, but also be able to convey it in a way that's like, look, I'm not the highest, but I'm not the lowest. But I think that I'm going to give you a safe installation, and it sends a message, right? And it is simply the biggest tool for the CMECP is that there is no next level. I can promise you that other certification programs for electricians or inspectors don't have the same level of criteria. Because some of them you have to do a certain number of inspections to get in. Some of them you just take an exam to get in. Ours already sets the threshold pretty high. I mean, you have to be a master in your craft. Or equivalent to that, depending on what the states, if they have that equivalency or not, Texas, for example. Texas has a master's license, so that's the license you have to get into our program. Now, there are special exemptions. I would be remiss if I didn't talk about those. There are special exemptions for people who have served the industry, that have taught on the teaching circuit, who maybe have taught for organizations at a high level, at events, and they've established themselves as an educator and an expert in their field. If the board of directors vote, or if a CMECP proffers one of those people to the board for recommendation, let's say one of the CMECPs, and that's a power that all the CMECPs have. I don't know if they know that. They have the power to nominate somebody as an honorary, and they skip the process. Now, the reason they skip it is because when they nominate, it goes in front of the board, and the board will look at that person's contribution to the industry. And they look at that contribution to the industry, and they see if they meet a certain level of criteria. Okay? So if you're a member of a prestigious association, and you know somebody that has put years and years of dedicated, I'll just throw an example here. He's not been nominated, but I'll just throw an example. There's a gentleman out there, his name is Mark Odie. Now, Mark Odie is renowned in the educational part. He used to be with UL. Mark is such a knowledgeable gentleman that if somebody, and I can't nominate that way, being such at the high level of this program, a CMECP would nominate, and it would go out to Mark, that Mark was nominated as a CMECP candidate honorary. And that would be presented to the board, and the board would look at his history and everything he's done, and that would be an easy slam dunk. Okay, that's just an example, but that would be an easy slam dunk for the board, because Mark has put this kind of dedication to the industry, and it's documented. I mean, you can see it. He's authored books. He's co-authored books. He's historically, everybody, people know that are in the know Mark Odie. And Mark, if you're listening, or if you ever listen, again, I'm sorry, I'm using you as an example, but it's a good example. Mark would be an honorary candidate that would be elevated to CMECP. Would not have to go through the process, because he's already established his level of credibility in the industry. That's what we're looking for. So a lot of people contact us at the CMECP, and I'm the first to admit we've done a poor job of promoting it. Because again, I wear a lot of hats. No CMECP or anybody has ever stepped up to say they want to take more of a leadership role in it. So I've kind of wear the reins on a lot of these things. The CMECP, we get a lot of inquiries about it at cmecp.org. But people that want to get into it they're not going to qualify to get into the program. But I think a lot of times they forget about the journeyman apprenticeship program, because that, again, is an important program, because the apprenticeship program, again, is no different than the 6-month program. The only difference is it gives you a year to complete it rather than 6 months. So, a master can't get in that program. That was the next question somebody sent to me, and says, hey, I'm a master, but I want to get into the journeyman program so they could get 12 months. And no, sadly, that's not how it works. So you got to do the 6 month. Now, the good part about it is once your 6 months is done in the program, and people tend to think this is overly daunting. People stress out about it. The 6 months is only for the online portion, only for the course portion, the tests, right? There's 20 plus tests you have to pass, and you have to have an 80% or higher. There's 19 units, and you have to pass those reviews with an 80% or higher. You get it's now changed for the 2023 edition of the CMECP program. You get 2 attempts. That's it. If you fail your first one, you better be careful, because if you fail your first one, you got one more. If you fail that, it doesn't matter how far you're along in the program, then you're out of the program. And if you want to join, you have to go back to the beginning. It's just the way it works. For everybody in the 2020 edition of the CMECP program, it is you get 3 attempts. So that is a change that took place to the CMECP program. It did make it harder, but it also forces you to be very focused. And look, I'm personally a believer. Hey, there's no lying that our company benefits from a CMECP program. But you would think, the way some people would say it, that it's just that Paul just giving these things out, or our program, or our board of directors are awarding these things like giving out candy at Halloween. No, we get tons of applicants, and a majority of them do not make it through. Not because it's overly hard. I don't want to give that impression. Code is code. It's not overly hard. But it forces you to be good stewards of your time management in the program. So you have to realize that it's a commitment. In 6 months, ask those that have been in the program. Ask anybody. Ask Grunberg, Jay Grunberg, Bill Butts, and ask Jason Thrope. Jason, I always screw that up. Ask people that have been through the program. And they will tell you, it literally challenges you. Ask Dave Engelhardt, who is, gets certifications all over the place. Dave is very dedicated to education and learning, and he's very passionate about it. Really passionate, and great guy. And we're so pleased he's in the program, and he literally went through the program. And it will tell you, he's a testament to tell you that it's not a cakewalk, but it's very doable. And, and you just have to manage your time. And that's one of the things that we're very important about, that's kind of subliminal in our program, is the time management part. Now, one of the things that we'll be adding to the future CMECP program is our leadership module, which we're going to be releasing now, which is construction field leadership module training. It's a video series that we'll be adding to that program. So it's all about building leaders and creating those leaders, because we want CMECPs in leadership roles. We want CMECPs as project managers, as construction site leads. We want, that's what we want to see as far as electrical projects. That's what we want to see. So there's going to be an emphasis on adding an element to that. It's not going to increase the testing part of that, because these are just going to be training modules that are going to be required to view and watch and as part of the program. So it's just going to be a viewing component. We're not going to test on this. But we feel it's so important to add that leadership and give that insight into leadership. And I have so much to share about that, because my whole career, I've never been much of a follower. It's always been a leadership role of something, and I have insights that I want to share. So that's the kind of stuff that we want to roll into the program. Now, we already have a bunch of leadership modules in our program. Once you become a member, you can go in. Once you get to be CMECP, you get to log in our educational portal, and we have a partnership with Allison, and it's a educational portal. And once you get in there, then you can become part of that leadership. You can get involved in that and learn. So that's it already is available to the CMECP members if they want it. That's already there. But yeah, so to answer the questions more specifically, with the CMECP program, you're raising the awareness to everybody around you that you went to the next level, that you took your education, your training, your commitment. You're a leader in the industry. You understand the National Electrical Code. And again, so many people can pull cable, so many people can run conduit and tubing, so many people, but they don't have the mental game. And this is a way of saying, look, I understand that people say not all master electricians are created equal, but in the eyes of the consumer, in the eyes of the title, If I wear a hat that says Master Electrician, I'm basically throwing myself into a pool of like everybody's the same. Nobody knows what elevates you or what separates you. Well, that's what the CMECP program is designed to do. It's going to test you. You're already smart. You already met the prerequisite if you're a master equivalent. You're already at that level. We already pre-qualify you to that level. So the CMECP is just, if it's not for anything, it's for yourself. It's to step your game up. If you're the leader, the owner of your company, somebody that's making the financial decisions, somebody that's got to live or die by your choice on a project, and you need to be that person to go to, or somebody that wants to step up into a leadership role, and you're a master electrician, you're wondering, how do I separate myself? Well, this is a good way, because when you're done, you're able to separate yourself to your employer, to everybody around you, that you went through a program that is dedicated to taking you to that next level. And that's what the program is all about, and that's how you use the program. And as far as acceptance and accreditations and all that, that's not what the program's about. But we are a corporation. They are federally protected marks. There is a documented process that you have to go through. It's all tracked. It's all kept in our office. Everything, even the proctored exams that are recorded, all of that stuff is documented and it's kept. It's available for review at any time. And so that's what kind of separates the program, is that it's designed that way. Okay. All right, folks, that's about it. I hope that answered your question on the CMECP program. I love the program. We make very little on this program. Go look at the math. You'll see that it's basically a discounted program. But, and I'd be honest with you, I have not initiated a renewal fee for any CMECP since the inception. Okay? Not a single CMECP has ever had to pay a renewal fee, even though the rules state every 2 years you have to pay a renewal fee. We have never, because we have a corporate initiative to a certain level of membership before we would trigger that. And you know what? It's hard to get in the program, but it has tons of benefits. We even have a savings program where basically you can buy stuff at employee costs at a lot of things like Sony and Toshiba and all these type of things that you can use if you want it. Buy tickets, airfare, rental cars. We negotiate these deals, and it's all available to members if they want it, to offset the cost of their program. In fact, it'll pay for itself if you're interested in that. But you got to get it. You have to promote it, and anything is only as good as you promote it. At the end of the day, it's better to toot your own horn, because people are out there fighting to not toot your horn. So if you can talk the talk and walk the walk, that's not bragging. That's confidence. And the CMECP program breeds confidence. All right, folks. All right, I hope I answered your question on the CMECP program. Go check it out, cmecp.org, cmecp.org. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. We're more than happy to explain it. Till next time, folks, stay safe, God bless, and have a great Wednesday.